Good Sunday evening, South Mississippi. Meteorologist Taylor Graham here, joining you from the newsroom to give an update on your back to school and back to work forecast. And if you haven't already known, it's pretty cold again tonight. It's not going to be quite as cold as what we had this morning, but we are still on track for seeing a hard freeze overnight tonight into Monday morning. But I do want to talk a little bit about what happened earlier this morning, and that's because it was so cold and we set some new record lows. Now these are the previous record lows for Biloxi, Gulfport, and Moss Point. For Biloxi it was 24, 23 in Gulfport. That was set back in 1980. In Moss Point at the Trent Lott Airport, our records do not go back nearly as far, so that's why the record is only 32. But this morning, we hit a low of 20 at the station, 19 in Gulfport at the airport, and a low of 20 in Moss Point. So we blew by those previous records with flying colors. Not really anticipating record lows tomorrow morning, but it is still going to be really, really cold. Temperatures have already dropped close to freezing at the time that I'm telling you this already, and we are going to be staying below freezing overnight tonight into Monday morning, and close to the sunrise we are going to be back into the mid-20s for the most part. Could see a few more of those low 20s a little farther inland, mid-20s once again along the coast. So it's another night where you probably want to let your faucets drip. Hopefully your exposed pipes have already been wrapped up from the cold that we've had so far this weekend. And of course, people, pets, plants need to be protected again overnight tonight into Monday. Now this is going to be what looks like our last hard freeze heading into the rest of the week. Tomorrow and even tomorrow night, things are looking warmer. Looks like we've hit freezing already in Gulfport at the airport, and it makes sense because the sky is clear, the wind is calm, the air is still very dry. We have dew points now in the upper teens and low 20s. It's a little bit better than those dew points we had in the single digits yesterday, but again, the air extremely dry, and I can tell by my hands. I'm dealing with some dry skin myself. So we've already hit freezing in Gulfport, and it's only going to be getting colder from here. Now compared to this time yesterday, it's actually a little bit warmer, not by a lot, but check out Moss Point, Pascagoula, where we've got some cold air draining in. It seems like you've already dropped into the upper 20s. We can see some upper 20s in Perkinston, Picayune, Poplarville sitting at 26. We've got some of those upper 20s across Jackson County. One good thing is that it is not nearly as windy. In fact, it seems like the wind has completely gone calm at this point. So really not anticipating much of a wind chill issue overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So the wind chill is actually going to be the temperature because we just don't have much of a wind. And it does look like we just got in the latest update from Gulfport, now sitting at 30. It won't be before long until we are going to be dropping back down into the 20s. 28 in Hattiesburg, 29 in Meridian. It is a cold night across the southeast. A tad bit warmer over in Lake Charles, not by much though. They are still in the upper 30s. Also want to talk about too, South Florida. They have been getting a piece of this cold blast. 44 in Miami right now, which really is not overly common, and they are expecting some lows in the 30s. Again, that does not happen very often in South Florida, but this cold air, that's going to start to lift to the north as we get into Monday and Tuesday, and things are going to be warming up quite a bit as we get into Tuesday afternoon, and I'll show you that here in just a few moments. So the sky pretty much completely clear at this point, not expecting any wintry precipitation tonight nor into tomorrow, and in fact our Monday is looking really nice and dry. Lots of sunshine expected on Monday. Not really anticipating much rain on Tuesday, but Tuesday evening into early Wednesday morning, we've got a good chance of seeing some wet weather. We do have another cold front that's going to be moving through our area, bringing with it widespread showers, maybe even a few heavier downpours here or there. Again, Tuesday night until Wednesday morning. And then as we wrap up the work week, not really anticipating much in the way of rain. So I stopped futurecast here tomorrow afternoon. Not bad. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. That's an improvement from the 40s we had today and the 30s that we had for highs on Saturday. So we are going to be a good bit warmer on Monday. Still a little bit below normal. And then as we head into Tuesday morning, there's a pretty good chance we're going to be well above freezing. Now, I do think futurecast may be overdoing our temperatures just a little bit. We're more so looking at the upper 30s and low 40s by Tuesday morning. But then, again, we're still expecting to stay above freezing. We may see some passing clouds. And then by Tuesday afternoon, nice treat, we really thaw out with temperatures in the mid to even upper 60s. If we get enough sunshine, some inland areas may be pushing 70 by the end of the afternoon. Then comes the rain late Tuesday and into Wednesday. I've stopped this at about midnight. This is going to be along a cold front. Again, could see some heavier pockets of rain. We will see that swing through by Wednesday morning. Temperatures Tuesday night into Wednesday likely going to stay in the 50s. We may briefly hit the low 60s by Wednesday, but the cooler air will be moving in by the end of the day, and we will be dropping back down into the low 50s for daytime highs by Thursday. So not necessarily an Arctic blast by any means, but it is going to be turning a little cooler by the end of the week. However, signs are showing we are going to be right back into the 60s this upcoming weekend, which should be really nice weather for Mardi Gras parades coming up this upcoming weekend. And as of right now, not really expecting much in the way of rain. So tomorrow morning, and even again overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, still looking at a hard freeze. We're going to be well above freezing Tuesday morning and especially Wednesday morning with those showers passing through our area. By Thursday and Friday morning, things are going to be cooling down quite a bit, and our best chance of getting another freeze will be Friday morning. At this time, does not look like a hard freeze, but people, pets, and plants likely will need to be protected again by the end of the week. And it does seem like our morning lows this weekend, for the time being, are going to be staying above freezing. So today is the first day of the new month, and I always like to see where we typically are by the end of the month. So normal high in Gulfport for 1st of February is 63 with a normal low of 44. By the end of the month, our average or normal high is right around 67 with a normal low of about 49. So typically we start to warm up a little bit more by the end of February, and that will continue into March. So if you're really tired of this cold weather, history tells us things are going to be getting warmer. I'm sure before we know it, we will be complaining about the heat and humidity here along the coast. But at least this past weekend, it has been really, really cold, especially for our standards. But tonight looks to be like the last hard freeze, at least of this week. Temperatures tomorrow, really nice in the mid 50s. Some upper 50s are possible. Lots of sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. We're going to be back easily into the 60s by Tuesday. A little bit cooler by Thursday and Friday, and then signs are showing we are going to be warming back up just in time for the weekend. So, time now is 9 o'clock on the dot. We will be having our 10 o'clock newscast tonight on ABC. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be pushed back on CBS due to the Grammys, but hopefully you can join us 10 o'clock this evening on ABC. I'll have another update on your back to work and back to school forecast, plus all the latest news in South Mississippi.